We continue now at the top of Daf Beizam and Beizam Mesechet Shavuos. This is Shavuos Daf Tube. The Mishnah continues with Rabbi Shimon's opinion in terms of the seir of Rosh Chodesh, the goat that is brought on Rosh Chodesh. What is that mechaper for? Al hatar sha'achal as hatame. That's specifically for someone who's pure, who eats what is tameh. Rashi explains al tar sha'achal as hatame. Adam tar means a person who's tar. Sha'achal as hakodesh tameh, who eats kodesh, which is tameh. Uve Gemara mefarish menali. The Gemara will explain where did Rabbi Shimon get this from. Ve'afa pi she'ein ba chi of kares. Nitna kapara zu akach, even though there's no chiv kares for a tahor who eats tameh, but still that's what this kapara is for. That's what the seirei Rosh Chodesh, that is what they are for. And the Mishnah continues, Rabbi Meir says, Kol ha-seirin kaparosan shave al tumas mikdash v'kadashav. When it comes to all the goats, they're all the same in terms of kapara, and tumas mikdash v'kadashav. Rashi explains, Kol ha-seirin kaparosan shave, Kol seirei musafin. What it means over here is talking specifically about the goats that are brought as carbon musaf. This is not talking, as Rashi will say, about the soir hanasa b'fnim an Yom Kippur. That's not a carbon musaf, but all of the seirei musafin, bein sir hanasa b'chutz the Yom Kippur. Whether we're talking about the Sir Hanasa B'chutz on Yom Kippur, which is a Karvan Musaf, Bein Shel Regalim, whether we're talking about the ones brought on the holidays, Bein Shel Rosh Chodeshim, whether we're talking about the ones that are brought on Rosh Chodesh, Kaparosan Shava, they have an equal kapara. Kulan Mechaprim Al Kol, they're all going to be Mechaper on everything. Bein al she'in ba yediyah betchila v'yesh ba yediyah levasof. Whether we're talking about where he didn't know about the tumah in the beginning, but he found out about the tumah at the end, he found out that he committed the sin. Bein al she'in ba yediyah lo betchila v'levasof. Or a case, let's say, where he had no knowledge whatsoever, he had no idea that he was tummy in the beginning, no idea that he committed a sin at the end, that he went into the Beis HaMikdash, let's say, while he was tummy at the end. And bein al tar she'achal es hatamei, or in the case that Rabbi Shimon just had, let's say a tar person eats kodesh tamei, and all of those, again, it's all the same. All of the seirim are mechaper. V'nafkamina l'tuma sheira bein zelazeh. The whole nafkamina is, let's say a person becomes tamei in between, so that he brings a sir Rosh Chodesh, and then he becomes tamei again, and so then there's a soyer of the regal that comes up, so that's going to be mechaper for that particular aveira. And Rashi continues, Avol sor hanasa bifnim, but when it comes to the sor that's nasa bifnim on Yom Kippurim, lo nechleku olav. So that they're not really arguing on him. She'enu mechaperim elu v'lo elu tolanes tiliyoso, k'sheyesh ba yediyah betchila ve'ein ba yediyah basof. Again, that sor hanasa bifnim is specifically in a situation where there was yediyah betchila, where the person knew about the tumah originally, but then had no idea at the end that he even committed a sin, and so then it protects him until he finds out that there was a sin, and he brings the appropriate korban. And the Mishnah continues, and this next line is Rabbi Shimon's opinion that was already mentioned. It's being repeated because of the conversation that ensues. Higher Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon would say, Seirei Rosh Chodeshim, again, when it comes to the goats that are brought on Rosh Chodesh, Mechabrim al Hatar Sha'achal Satame, like we just said above, they're Mechaber, let's say a person who's tar, eats Kodesh that is Tameh. Vishal Regalim, and when it comes to the Seirei Regalim, this was mentioned on the previous summit again, Rabbi Shimon said, Mechabrim al She'ein ba Yediyah lo betchila v'lo besof, the Seirei Regalim, they provide a kapar, let's say a person had no idea. In the beginning, he didn't know that he was tamei, and he didn't know at the end that he committed a sin. V'shal Yom Kippurim, and then the one on Yom Kippur, mechaper al she'ein ba yediyah betchila, that's mechaper on a situation where there was no yediyah in the beginning. Aval yesh ba yediyah basof, but there was a yediyah at the end. There was knowledge at the end that he had committed a sin, and again, that soyer that's on Yom Kippur, that's a kapara for that. And that again is referring to the soyer hanasa b'chutz on Yom Kippur, which is one of the carbon musafs, and again it's mechaper on a situation of ein ba yediyah betchila, aval yesh ba yediyah basof. And the Mishnah continues, Amru lo, so they said back to him, they said back to Rabbi Shimon, Ma'u sheyikravu zeh b'zeh, can you bring this one for this one? Amar lehen yikravu, he said to them, you can bring it. And Rashi explains, Hi Rabbi Shimon Omer, Hi nokad lo mishum deboy lememar. Again, the only reason we're bringing Rabbi Shimon again is because we want to say what they said to Rabbi Shimon. They said, Amru lo, they said to him, Ma'u sheyikravu zeh b'zeh. What does that mean? Im avad soyer shofresh liyom kippurim. For example, let's say a goat that was separated for Yom Kippur got lost. V'nischapru b'acher, so they brought a different goat as a kapara. V'nimtza zeh b'regel, and then they found this goat that was lost on the holiday. Ober Rosh Chodesh, or let's say they found it on Rosh Chodesh. Ma'u sheyakrav l'shem seiro shel yom. That's what they were asking him. Can you bring it instead? Bring this soyer as the soyer of the regel or the soyer of Rosh Chodesh. That's what it means when they said Ma'u sheyikravu zeh b'zeh. And Amar Leni said to them, Yikravu, yes, you can do that. Amru lo, so they said to him, 1 second. Hoel ve'ein kaparas and shav. If the kapara is not the same, Rabbi Shimon just went through saying that each soyer is a kapara for a different thing. The soyer of Rosh Chodesh is for the tar shachal as hatamei. The one of regalim is for ein ba yediyah lo betchila v'lo besof. The one on Yom Kippur is for ein ba yediyah betchila but yesh ba yediyah basof. So if the kapara is not the same, hech kareven zeh b'zeh, how can you bring a soyer that was, let's say, designated for Yom Kippur? Now you're going to bring it on Rosh Chodesh. It doesn't make sense. Amar Lemi said back to them, Kulan boin lechaper al tumas mikdash v'kadasha. But in general, they're all coming to give a kapara kapara for tumas mikdash v'kadashav. It's all generally the same, and that's why it is fine. And the Mishnah continues, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda Omer Mishmo, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, he says in his name, meaning he says in the name of Rabbi Shimon, that's Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, Seirei Roshei Chodashim, when it comes to the goats that are brought on Rosh Chodesh, Mechapern al Hatar Shachal Asat Tamei. They're Mechapern in the case again of a person who's Tar who eats Tamei Kodesh. Now Mosif Alein Shal Regalim, when it comes to the Regalim, the Seirei Regalim are just added upon them that they're also provide a kapara, Shemechapern al Tar Shachal Asat Tamei. They provide that same kapara for the Tar Shachal Asat Tamei, but they add on V'al She'ein Bo Yediyah Lo B'tchila V'lo B'sof. They also provide kapara if there was no knowledge B'tchila or Basof. And Mosif Alein Shal Yom Kippurim, and then the Sar of Yom Kippur, that adds on even more. Shein mechaprin al hatar shachal asatame ve'al shein bo yediyah lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof. That's mechaper on a tar that eats tamei, and also in a situation where there's no yediyah b'tchila b'sof, and added on to that ve'al shein bo yediyah b'tchila aval yesh bo yediyah b'sof. Also in a situation where there was no yediyah b'tchila, but there is yediyah b'sof. And then according to this version of Rabbi Shimon, Amru lo, they said to him, Ma'u sheyikravu zeh bazeh. Again, can you bring one on another one of those days? Amar lem, he said to them, Hein, yes you could. Amrulo, they said to him, Imkain you shall Yom Kippurim, Kraven Barasha Chadashim. If that's true, I understand that the one of Yom Kippur, let's say again, it got lost, and you want to bring it on Rosh Chodesh, that would be fine, because that includes the kapara of Rosh Chodesh and more. Aval Hech shall Rosh Chadashim, but let's say the one of Rosh Chodesh, which is the most minimal amount of kapara, Kraven B'Yom Kippurim, L'chaper kapara she'ena shalom. You're going to bring that on Yom Kippur, and it's going to bring a kapara, an atonement that's normally it's not able to bring. How is that possible? Amar Lemi said back to them, Kulon boyin l'chaper al tumas mikdash v'kadashav. The same answer as above. They're all, in general, they all come for a kapara for tumas mikdash v'kadashav, so it is fine. And the Mishnah continues, V'al Zodon Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. Let's say it's not a mistake. Let's say it was on purpose that there's Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. So then Seir Hanasa Bifnim V'Yom HaKippur Mechaprin. Then the Seir that's brought inside in Yom Kippur, that's going to be a kapara for that. And the Mishnah continues, Al Shara Averos Shebetorah, when it comes to other Averos in the Torah. Hakalos V'Chamuros, the light ones and the more strict ones. Hazadonos V'Ashkagos, whether they're on purpose or whether they're by mistake. Hoda V'Lo Hoda, whether they're known or not known. The Gemara will explain that. Asay V'Losa Asay, whether they're positive or negative. Krisas or Misas Bezdin, whether they involve Kares or Misas Bezdin. Seir HaMishtaleach Mechaper, the Seir HaMishtaleach, that's the goat that's sent away La'azazel, that provides the kapara for all of that. Echad Yisraelim, V'echad Kohanim, that applies to Yisraelim and Kohanim. V'echad Kohen Mashuach, that applies to the anointed Kohen. And Ma Ben Yisraelim LaKohanim, but what's the difference between Yisraelim and Kohanim, or LaKohen HaMashuach and the Kohen Mashuach? Ela Shapar Mechaper Al Kohanim, Al Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. The difference is that the par, the bull that is brought, that's a kapara for the Kohanim, for Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. We'll see Rashi in a moment. Rabbi Shimon says, Kashem Shadam HaSoyer Hanasa Bifnim Mechaper Al Yisrael, just like the blood of the Soyer Bifnim that's in the Beis HaMikdash, that's Mechaper for Yisrael, Kach Dam HaPar, so too the blood of the bull, Mechaper Al Kohanim, that's going to be a kapara for the Kohanim. And Kashem Sheviduyav Shal Sir HaMashtaleach Mechaper Al Yisrael, just like the confession by the Sir HaMashtaleach is a kapara for Yisrael, Kach Viduyav Shal Par Mechaper Al Kohanim, so to the confession of the par is a kapara for the Kohanim. And Rashi explains, V'al Zodon Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav Stamahi. This part of the Mishnah is just a Stam Mishnah. It's unattributed. Hoda V'lo Hoda B'Gemara Mefarshal, as we said, Hoda V'lo Hoda will be explained in the Gemara. Echad Yisrael. So then the Mishnah said, whether we're talking about Yisraelim or Kohanim, it's all the same. B'Gemara Parach, the Gemara is going to ask on this, because my Kamar Shebetchila Hishvam, because the first line of this Mishnah over here is saying that Yisrael Kohanim is all the same in terms of kapara. V'Hadar Tani Ma Ben Yisrael Kohanim. And then the very next line of the Mishnah is, what is the difference between Yisraelim and Kohanim? And it says this difference in terms of the par. So the Gemara is going to ask that. Elisha par mechaper al Kohanim garsin and velo garsin shadam hapar. The proper text of the Mishnah is as we have it. The par is mechaper for the Kohanim on Tumas Mikdash v'Kadashav. Elisha par mechaper al Kohanim kol shasir hapnimi mechaper al Yisrael. What we're saying is as follows: anything that the inner soyer is mechaper for Yisrael, dahainu tlias Yisrael, and that's a protection from afflictions. The yesh bo yediyah betchila v'lo b'sof, in a case where he knew about the tumah originally but didn't know at the end that he had committed a sin. V'zodon tumas mikdash v'kadashav, and also let's say you have tumas mikdash v'kadashav on purpose. V'chein kaparas sir hachitzon, and also the kapara of the outer soyer. Paro shel kohen hakarib yom kippurim bifnim. So the bull of the kohen, which is brought in Yom Kippur bifnim, kimosh and mefurish b'achrei mos, as is explained in achrei mos, mechaper al kohanim kediyolaf b'gemara. That provides kapara for the kohanim, as the Gemara will learn out. And Rashi continues, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, Lach Lokbar, Rabbi Shimon is coming to argue on the Tanakama. Al Shomer Lamalo Echad Kohanim Ve'echad Yisraelim, because we said above that both by Kohanim and Yisraelim, Shavin B'kaparas Shar Averos, they're equal in terms of atonement for other Averos, Besir HaMishtaleach, by the Sar HaMishtaleach. Bein Chalukin B'kaparas and Ella, B'tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. The only difference between Kohanim and Yisraelim is in terms of how they get their kapara by Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav, as we just said above. V'kamer Rabbi Shimon, now Rabbi Shimon is saying, Kashem Sha'atamod B'dam Hasor HaPnimi. Just like you admit by the blood of the inner soyer, Shemechaper al Yisrael kaparaso, below Shem Vidoy, that the Yisrael gets a kapara without confession, Ela kaparas hazoyas adam, it's just the sprinkling of the blood, She'ein Vidoy B'ser HaPnimi, because there is no confession by the inner soyer, Ela B'mishtaleach, there's only a confession by the soyer that's sent away, Kach dam hapar mechaper below Shem Vidoy al Kohanim. So too the blood of the par is mechaper without any confession for the Kohanim, al Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav, when it comes to Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav. And therefore, since Rabbi Shimon says that, Ayaser le viduyav shel par, so now we still have left the confession over the par, b'makom viduyav shel sar hamishtaleach, in place of the viduy of the confession by the sar hamishtaleach, lechaper al kohanim b'shar averos, and that viduy is used for kohanim for other averos. Ve'ein lem kapar b'sar hamishtaleach, and the point of Rabbi Shimon is that kohanim, they don't need the sar hamishtaleach at all for their kapara. And the Gemara says, Michti let us see, Tanami Makos Solak, the Tana is picking up from Meseches Makos, meaning that Meseches Shavuos, it follows Meseches Makos. Ma'ishna Detani Shavuos, why is it that Shavuos follows Meseches Makos? And the Gemara continues and answers, Mishum Detani, because at the end of Makos it says, Chayev al Harosh Shtayim, Achas Mikan v'Achas Mikan. It's talking about the cutting off of the payas. It says in the Mishnah over there that the person is Chayev on the head too, meaning there's payas on each side of the head, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph.